Welcome to the Spice of Life podcast, where we take bold risks, build real wealth, and use money as a tool for freedom and legacy. I'm Luke Spicer, and each week we uncover the principles of ownership, independence, to business and life. Whether you're an investor, entrepreneur, or tradesperson, this show is about creating freedom today and legacy for tomorrow. Hey everybody, welcome to the Spicer Life. I'm your host, Luke Spicer. Today on the show, we've got Dave Puhky from Not for Hire. That's what it is, right? Not for hire? Yeah, perfect. How are you, bro?
I'm doing great, man. Doing
It's been
phenomenal.
it's been a long time since we've actually had a face-to-face chat. We talk online quite a bit from back in the fight days and things like that, but you're down in LA now. Tell me a little bit more about what's got you busy down there.
Yeah, down in California. I'm living the dream, really. It's pretty crazy to see when I was 17 and my sister lived here since I was 17, I always used to come down. I'm like, one day, when you're like, I'd be running down on Santa Monica, I'm like, one day I'm gonna live here. But no, not really ever, it's like every dream starts with a bit of delusion.
Yeah.
Mainly for the family, and the weather. But yeah, we ended up moving down here it's crazy how fast time flies, 2 years ago already
Okay.
now.
Yeah, I was like, it's been a while, but yeah. And so what do you're down there? I know your wife is a nurse, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
Nurse, she's
And
a
then
nurse. And then I just started, well, I've been doing coaching for the last probably the last 10 years, but I jumped into more, still fitness based, but very personal development, like setting the standard, right, for our own lives, our relationships. So I run a coaching business. It's called Not for Hire. It's really about, taking control back of our lives. And I'm more focused on men. I just feel like, there is a big need for it. I needed it. Because if we don't set the standard for our own life, I'm very big on sobriety. It's changed my life. I struggled for sure. I don't say I was an alcoholic. I have a little bit of different approach to AA and all that stuff, and everyone has their own um, take. Because a lot of people are like, well, I'm depressed. I'm overweight or whatever it be. I'm like, well, are you drinking every weekend? Are you sleeping in? Are you hanging around with losers? And are you exercising? Because if you're doing all those things, well, you're not really giving yourself a fighting chance. So
yeah, I
for
mean,
me,
you're not wrong there. I mean, how long have you been sober?
3 years
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'll be 14 this summer.
or
And it,
three,
it
yeah,
it
you,
it
years
it
over here.
changed everything. I mean, as long as we've known each other, I've never drank, right?
Yeah.
So, but it's interesting you say that. I had Brian Caldwell on for a show, and we were talking about that, about depression and things like that, and about how much in society, right? Like everything's about medication and this and that, and your excuses, and it's just like, well, if you would just go to the gym and you'd get outside and you'd eat a clean, you know, nutrition plan and then come back in like 6 weeks and let's talk. It'll be really quick actually, People, this is that. And it's like, hey man, like if you get off all these other things, I understand there's a lot of chemical imbalance in people these days, but like just God, they're so unhealthy, their whole body, and it's just like get outside. My wife's been taking me out walking like almost every day. Sometimes I don't get there, but like we go do this hike, and it's just like it's about 45 minutes. And like yesterday, I was hiking as quick as I could because I just wanted to get done. I didn't want to do that. I just was like, I want to get out of here. But it was like felt so good to just be out in nature, and do that. What um what was the final catalyst that made you really stop then?
Well, it's funny that I love what you're saying because it's like so. I don't know, like since I've social media, I look at social media like your resume to the world, and mine kind of took off a couple of years ago, and it's like anything, right? I get a lot of people messaging me, and it's always like I always get like the one thing, and it's all relatable to me, right? Because it's like it's always they know better, right? Okay, their life is this, like they're out of shape, their business sucks, but it's they know better. Well, I know what I need to do, and I'm like, well, no, you don't, because if you did, you would be there. And it's like ego is like is the killer because it's not real, right? If your ego is your, and then they're like, people will say, right? Oh, well, you don't know what it's like, man. I'm like, well, tell me a little bit about, give me an insight of a week into your life. And it's like, most of them are even afraid to tell you what that week looks like. And then they tell you, they're like, well, I can't find a girl. I'm kind of lonely. I'm like, well, what are your friends like? They tell me about your friends. I'm like, yeah. Okay, so just so you know, you're not the problem. Your choices are the problem. Because if I spent a week in your life, bro, I would be more depressed than you are. Trust me. So it's not actually you. I would feel fucking worse than you because I guess I don't know. I've been depressed based off my own choices. Um, we live in North America. We have iPhones. No one holds a gun to your head to hang out with people that gossip. People going nowhere. No one forces you to go into the liquor store. I'm a firm believer of that. It's our choices. So what got me into it was it's funny. I was telling Ashley this last night. We were driving back from the beach because, like, it's crazy. I still have moments where I'm like, wow, even in my last relationship, because I get a lot of people asking me about relationships. It's just like I'm pretty open with my life. It's like what you see on the internet. It's my real life. I'm not faking it. I'm not a big materialistic guy. I'm doing well, but in the areas that matter to me, right? And I was like, well, I think what really changed for me was like I had things pretty going from the outside, and I had a friend, a buddy who kind of turned his back on me. He was really miserable. Brought him out, and I just always remember this moment because people look at like haters as like a bad thing sometimes, and I think, well, sometimes they teach you your most valuable lessons. So I had this friend. I flew this guy out to live with me. I gave him everything, you know. And when I started seeing success externally, you know, I had the gyms were doing well. I started feeling a major resentment from this guy. Like I could feel it, but he would never say it to my face. I would even try to have conversations. And to the point where like I heard he was like talking about me to my other staff, like I was going out for nice dinners. And where I'm going with this was during this time, from the outside, I was doing well. I've always been in shape. I don't have like one of those transformation stories with my body being like, here I was like overweight. No, it was here. And I remember my ex-wife's dad, Don Moss, he would always tell me, he's like, Dave, you got to work on your mental biceps too. And I'd be like, oh yeah, whatever, buddy. Like you're fucking 50. You know what I mean? Like always, as we know now, they're always trying to give you advice to help you. And I think that was a big reason I was so engulfed in training all the time.
Right.
That's another touch on because it was like it almost covered up my insecurity,
Hmm.
because I was
Yeah.
very good in the training room too. I was probably the toughest guy in every, for I was like Dustin was my training, big Dustin, and I was his main sparring partner, and I was 185. So where I'm going with this is I would mask it right with every other area, like the
Of course.
outside. Well, yeah, yeah, but I would be going on these benders, like and I was never really like a drink all the time guy. It wasn't like I need a beer. It was like childhood trauma. I'm the victim. What happened to me? But I would never tell anybody, right? Unless I would get all fucked up, and you know how it is. I'd be like, oh, poor. And then I'd go on these like, I'd go out and drink, and I never had the plan to like, I'm gonna go drink all this booze and do a bunch of cocaine until 9 in the morning. That was never my like, it was never the plan. But that's what happened every time I drank because I would mask it, bottle it up, um, you know, and then so I would go drink. And I remember this one time I went on this bender and I cornered this was when my gym was like, we were like, I'd like to, at one time, my gym, we were the best gym out of Victoria. We're like 15-0 on our fights. And I went on this and I would pour so much into other people, right? That was a big thing for me as a coach. You're like, it's a very
Hmm.
selfless job. So I went to corner a guy and French Bulldog. And I remember going on a bender after he lost, took a fight I didn't want him to take. I knew the other guy, and I went on a bender. I'll remember this, and I've actually never told anybody the story. So yeah, but it's I went on a bender. This is my most like I'd say vulnerable story. I went on a bender after, missed a flight home, and from the outside world, right? I was still like together. Like I have a photo of me on missing this flight, like blackout drunk, because I was so rattled that I don't know what it was. It's gonna sound crazy, but maybe that I couldn't help this guy win. It was just the weirdest feeling. Like I poured everything in. I didn't want him to take a fight. He fought my friend. And this was I just remember this moment on missing this flight and being like, I came back. and he was like, obviously he was upset, you know, and it almost discredited everything I did, right? Because he was like, oh, you're a, and on the outside, like, and we were very close. He's like, and he had a lot of issues, this guy, but it doesn't matter. I always say it's about looking within. And again, so after this, he kind of turned into a hater, like secretly, and rightfully so. He had a right to be upset about that. And but I remember him telling me, he's like, oh, you think you have it all figured out, but you're just a drunken fucking loser. And I was like, it was crazy because it was like this moment I had. I was like almost out of I always tell people at the start when you're changing, sometimes you need a backpack full of things that people have said to you. I was like, okay, you think I'm a drunken loser, eh? You know what? Hey, you may be right, but I'm fucking show you who's a drunken loser.
Hmm.
And then I was like, this fucking guy's right. You know what I mean? Like looking, I'm like, this idiot who's been hating on me behind my back. Yes, I don't get me wrong. I cornered it. I did, like, again, I made a mistake I made lots of mistakes. That was just one story, but like but I just remember being like, and then my mom got cancer, and yeah, I just remember being like, all right, it's not what happens if I get sober. That's not what it's about. It's what will happen if I don't change my life? What happens
Hmm.
if I don't, really start betting on myself? And dude, from that day forward, I kind of, had a couple more slip ups, but so I would say I didn't, I had 100 bottoms in my life, jail, rehab, fucking DUIs. But I remember I woke up New Year's almost 3 years ago. Classic, really fun time. Everybody else thought it was fun. I don't remember going to bed because I didn't do any. Well, so I woke up on New Year's Day, and I just remember being like, and I lost some friends to this because I told one of our buddies like, "Hey man, I'm done with this friend group. They're not going anywhere. I'm," and he told them, and they all, I don't really give a shit. I don't at this now. I don't care at all. But I was like, this was right before the New Year's, and I remember waking up being like, telling Ashley, I'm like, I'm done. Like I have so much potential. I really believe that. I got to get out of this friend group. They're going nowhere. All they do is drink on the weekends. It's not their fault. It's my fault. I hang out, like I'm choosing to do this.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I'm fucking cutting everybody off. I'm quitting drinking. And she, classic. She was like, oh, okay, I've heard this Sunday story for fucking, and you know what? I'm surprised she even hung around in the early years. But yeah, it was just, I woke up one day and I realized my fear of my current reality way outweighed my fear of change.
I think that's a lot of people, right? The the discomfort that they feel is has become so comfortable that the idea of
Yeah.
changing is way harder because it's unknown. I can even attest to that right now. Like after retiring from fighting, and then I was like working out, but I didn't have a goal because, like, I mean, I would lose weight because I had to fight. So I was like, well, fuck, but I love food and, not training. And I found this kind of gear. This was like last year. I was training all the time. I was feeling really good. I was at the gym. I was eating cleaner. I'd still enjoy life. We'd go out, we'd have some snacks, whatever with the kids. And I got sick in March of this year. And like I was sick for probably 8 weeks. I don't even know. Like I'm so glad that I built a business where I could talk to my clients online. I didn't have to go to the office. So the office appointments I had, I just said, hey, like I'm really deathly ill. I want to help you. So let's just, let's meet on Zoom. And I was like, hacking and coughing, and they're like, you okay? I'm like, yeah, I want, like, it's paperwork. I want to get this done for you guys because I want to do this transfer for you, and like to help you with your retirement accounts. And then I would like fucking go back into the bedroom and I'd lay down for like 3 hours till the next scheduled appointment, and I'd be trying to text people, and stop going to the gym because I was like sick. And then after I started to get better, I was like, okay, I'm going back to the gym because I was missing it. And I'd get sick, and I'd overdo it at the gym, and it would like run me down again. And then I just kind of stopped. And then I was like, okay, I'm feeling good, but I'm gonna just make sure I'm good. And I was getting up in the morning, I was reading, and I was doing a whole like development routine, but I was away from the gym. And man, I haven't been at the gym like since probably May. You know what I mean? Like maybe I went once, and I weighed myself the other day and I'm 290, and I'm like, hey, this is ridiculous. Like what am I doing? And it's like now just this little switch. I've been there a couple times now in the last 2 days. Went hiking yesterday, and it's like, but what it was, and I realized this leading up to this like story or whatever this last week was like I had just become comfortable with like the way life was until I'm like, okay, this is uncomfortable now. Like now I don't want to do this anymore. Like, and I want to be an example to my kids and community and whatever. And it's like you can always look and right, and there's somebody that'll have, you know, they'll be really rich, but they'll have a terrible personal life. And maybe their health is bad or they've got their health is really good and their relationship's good, which is weird because their finances are garbage, and I think like people need, definitely a balance where everything is good, but it's neat that you say that about who you surround yourself with, because when you're starting to grow, it comes hard because you're like now all of a sudden you're lonely because there's groups that you
No
had
man's land, bro.
forever are
No
are
man's.
not around, and then none of the new groups that you want to be around want to hang out with you because they're like, you don't
Yeah.
like, man, you ain't bringing us down, you ain't coming to hang out with
Yeah.
us, right?
Oh,
Especially the
yeah.
successful people because they recognize it, so tell me about that. How did you so you left this friend group and then you were still in Victoria, I assume, at this point when
Yeah.
you were talking about the story? Yeah.
So they all kind of turned their back on me, hating on me. It was always like, and you don't know the irony. Never had anybody say anything to my face. But it was like, this is the way I look at it. It's the best thing that ever happened in my life. Like I was
Hmm.
like, and how do I word this? The martial arts industry has some interesting characters. You've been in it for a long time. And as a coach, I was like spending my life like 5 nights a week. I'd teach jujitsu, then I'd come for kickboxing and I'd train. And I'm like, I looked around, I'm like, nobody has a relationship I want. I was the leader, right? And I guess I can look at it like, I don't know, it's tough. Like it's on me. It's always on me as the leader. But like I was looking around, like no one has the relationship I want in my friends group. No one has financial stability. No one owns a home. So I already know this. You can be the most motivated person in the world. You will never outgrow your surroundings ever.
Hmm.
Doesn't work. Doesn't happen. So I remember being like, fuck, okay. So this all happened. Best thing that ever happened, because if I would have just continued like my way, I would have never left. I'm a people pleaser, recover like I guess, but I'm an empath at heart. I want others to win. I think it's a gift too, because if you use it right, I always tell people about boundaries, but the people that want to learn, right? But I would have never left. So I'd still would have been there. So when you leave these situations, everyone's so afraid to be unliked. They're so afraid for people. What are they going to think? Especially when they're leaving these circles, because that's all they've
Yeah.
known. If you've hung around people
Hmm.
that gossip and just talk about people trying to level up their life, especially in their own town, I'll never forget it. When I moved to LA, I taught uh, at this gym here. It was called Unbreakable. I was teaching Wiz Khalifa Jiu-Jitsu, and he's like, "Where are you from, man?" And I'm like, "Victoria, BC." And he looks at me, he's like, "Where the fuck is that?" And I was like, and the reason it registered to me, because I had such a small town mindset, right? I was like, here I was thinking about like, well, what are people going to think if I like, they're going to call me some guy who thinks he's like, I don't know, shit talk me like some big shot. And I was like, I am worried about opinions. And this has happened. This is most people that come talking about building the business. Like, well, what's Jerry next door going to say? I'm like, do you want to be like Jerry? Probably not. So why do you care? And I was like,
Hmm.
I'm caught up. This was like 3 years ago on what people where someone doesn't even know it exists on the planet. That's how small my thought process is,
Yeah.
which is crazy because that's where most people, a lot of people, we only know our current. And I'm like, bro, you're trying to appease to the world, not this tiny little pond that you're in. What happens is if you go and you now, because it's funny, social media is a wild world. People are like, dude, you're like, it's an honor to talk about. I'm just the same old Dave. Like you and me, when we did our first podcast from COVID, I'm like, nothing's changed, bro. I just changed the limiting beliefs.
Hmm.
And then you look back, and a lot of these people, unfortunately, stay there for their whole life, and then they wake up and they blame the world where their life is the way, but they had the choice. So when you leave these situations, it's like no man's land. You're like, okay, I've left this friend group. It gets lonely. It does get lonely, and you're like,
Of course it does. If you're looking to learn more about hard assets and how you can leverage them with your registered retirement accounts or your cash accounts, reach out and we'll talk.
especially because a lot of these groups, the cages, let's just use the analogy, they want you to play small.
Mhm.
Like they're better off. Be like, no, bro, come back here and let's go to what's the bar called? Lucky. I don't even know the name of the bar. Let's go there on Friday and let's sit around and let's play cards and let's let's
Reminisce
do this.
about the old days when we were like
Yes,
doing something
yes,
different, right? Like I remember
yes,
when I used to fight and I'm like, man,
yeah,
I think that all the time. I'm like, what are you doing now though? You
yeah.
know?
No, and that's a great point too. And like where I was from, like people were so caught up in like in the martial arts world. I don't even know how to say it, like being somebody, but it's like, bro, no offense, you're a nobody. We're all kind of like really like that should never be your fucking goal for your self worth. You know,
Mhm.
uh, someone who's tried to chase it, it'll never fulfill you. The external validation will never feel the internal. And I remember you leave and it's lonely. And I'm like, if you can just, I'm like, I always tell them, don't go back just because you're lonely. You leave them, and then you nailed it. You're in this limbo of like, well, I've outgrown my old circle, but the new circle, but if you just hang around in no man's land long enough and you keep going on the hike and you invest, eventually someone's gonna be like, yo, I see Luke fucking, he's putting in work. You start meeting these people and you're like,
Mhm.
these are the people I wanted to meet. Like this is the rooms I wanted to get in. And then,
Yeah.
they're calling the expanders. You're like, wow. Because you start to learn, like I have one of my buddies, an actor, like, was a big deal back. And it's like, you start kind of realizing like, wow, these are just human beings like you and me. They put their shoes on them because we put
Mhm.
these other groups on a pedestal. Like we could never do, like, do it or whatever the do it means to you. But, and then you hang out in no man's land long enough and you're like, it was like, thank God I didn't go back to that cycle that most, you know what I mean? Most people repeat their whole lives.
Yeah. Well, and it's like one of my favorite movies, and I don't watch a lot of TV or movies or anything, but it's that movie Limitless, where he takes that drug, you know what I'm talking about? And he
So,
just
yeah,
like
Bradley
looks
Cooper.
around and he like cleans his house, and then he's like, and obviously like unlocks his brain and he starts to like, wow, he's getting wicked smart, and he's like, hey, what do I do? And he writes that book, and then but then he goes and he starts to go to these like circles that he doesn't belong in, and he just starts talking, and they're like, holy shit, and they're like, and the next thing you know, he's like in Monte Carlo or whatever, driving, fast cars and doing all this
Yeah.
stuff. And it's like your whole life changes. And I think the part that most people miss is it like it changes up here first, and so many people let their current life and their surroundings dictate their mindset instead of like shifting it the other way around. And like I understand about leaving, I'm still in Red Deer. And and we have plans to leave because it's like I want to go. I want to travel the world and do more things. My only thing right now is like my wife and I, we're both like remarried, right? So we both had relationships. We both have kids with two other people.
Good.
And so the girls are like in high school. My son's in grade 12, the girls are in grade 10. And so, we've got some time before they're adults. And it's like we can't just uproot them, that's not fair to anybody. So it's like, hey, well, we made these previous decisions. We have to stay here. But outside of that, I'm like, that's why I got online, right? I have clients across the country, I got friends across the world, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? No, I'm gonna start building these little like, new relationships with people and cultivating stronger relationships with people I know, and I'll just start traveling, And so we've done a lot of that in the last couple of years. And I can work from anywhere. So it's like, this is cool. I can do that. And you start to get around people that think bigger, and it's like, oh my God, why was I thinking so small? Like I got a couple friends that are like nine-figure business owners, right? Acquaintances. They're not quite friends. You know what I mean? But I know them pretty good. And it's like just
Talk
to
to him.
talk to
All
them.
that. Yeah.
What's that?
You talk to him. That's what really, like, yeah, you get to like,
Yeah, but you
absolutely.
just see into their mind and you're like, holy cow, like they think way differently about life. And then you start to really get to know them and you're like, they've always thought like that. That's what drove them to do these businesses and grow something beyond what anybody else locally is doing, right? And you're like, oh, okay. And how did you start that? Well, it just changed the way that my mindset and who I was surrounding myself with. And you're like, okay. And you start to do that and you're like, yeah, okay, this is fun. It's like fighting. It's like going to a new gym where they like have a whole bunch of killers and you're like, okay, I'm gonna see how I can handle myself over here, right? And you get slapped around a little bit, and you do some things, and then you show up again, and you're like, hey, I'm holding my own here now. Okay, like,
Yeah.
and the next thing you know, you just keep growing. And so I think that's the same with business and life. And so tell me a little bit more about what you do for for your clients, like people, like who's a good client for you, who's coming to see you, and how are you helping them?
Someone who's, I would say, 30, 35. Um, it's really like, I was going to touch on it. Like, people always think, like, everyone that comes to work with me, about removing the ego and understanding that you need to do, people always think they need to add, right? I actually used to think about this. I got to do more. Like, every time I was going to change my life, I used to like, I remember I would like listen to, I always have these moments now. Like, I would like listen to motivational videos in my bath. I loved having hot Epsom salt baths. So I'm training, and I'm like, I'm gonna get up tomorrow and I'm gonna fucking. I'm already doing so much, by the way. So like burning the candle at every end, training twice a day, owning 2 gyms. And when I was in the oil field, same thing. Like I was like, well, weird. I'm like never seemed to like get up and do any of this shit. Every Monday would come, there would be the motivational video. It's just in the past. I'm like, I'll listen to it again next Sunday in the bathtub, or whatever the fuck I was doing. But
Yeah.
and so I was like, everyone that comes to me, it's like, okay, what does everybody want? Let's just be honest. They want to love the person they see in the mirror, have someone that can. I firmly believe love. Big relationship guy, because my relationship is like one of the best things in my life. They want to have someone they can share their time with and enjoy work, whatever that is. But it all starts with removing all the things that have been holding us back. Because most of the time we're doing so many things like that we don't need to do. People think it's an addition process, right? But when you just dumb it down to how fucking simple it is, like you said, like these nine figure entrepreneurs, people think they're like, this guy must be fucking doing that. He must be doing 100 push-ups, and then he must be drinking 2 coffee. It's like, no, it's having structure and routine, and making a goal. So everybody that we start with, I have a group. We do daily accountabilities, gratitude every day, and I used to think these things were all kind of like, what is the word
Yeah,
looking
new
for?
age woohoo, that stuff.
Yeah. Because like, oh, you just go stick your feet in the grass with your shoes off and ground, and everything will come to you. But well, no, it takes hard fucking work too. You got to manifest, and then you also got to do the work.
Yeah.
But everything in your life becomes better if you have structure, routine. Because most of the time, if you look at anybody that has a life, they enjoy it. And I never say like just rich, because it's not. I've had made good money too, and not been great. So I'm like, it's a total package. I firmly believe that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like it's very basic. You have a structure, you have a routine, you have a morning routine. I have a wake up time, so same wake up time every day, same. And one thing I've been implementing lately, which is I actually heard it from this guy I follow, like waking up the same time on the weekend that you do on the weekday is a game changer. It's been a game changer for me. So having structure, exercising daily, no alcohol. And everyone's a little different when I like, because I got to see where you're at with your life. But we have the main part of our men's group is like we talked about. So you get a fitness program, macro program. I'm going to be launching a retreat soon, either in Hawaii in February, and I can get into that in a second. It's a little different, but yeah, the biggest thing is community and accountability and structure, because that's what most people lack, right? Most people, and I say most people because I speak just off my past self, can't commit, like, and I'll get people like, well, what's like yeah, first is 90 days, man, 3 months. And most people can't stick to something for 90 days. That's just proven fact. But the goal is just to have a program. And I've been doing strength and conditioning coaching, workout, I mean, as long as we've like for a long time. But it was for me, I needed not just that. You need to exercise, you need your structure, you need your daily habits and accountability. Again, I used to think it sounded like this fucking woo bullshit. But the goal is to do this for 90 days. And I got a guy right now, Nate, super proud of the guy. I've known him since like high school. We were actually like doing very random story, but he hit me up. He's like, hey man, I want you to help me. I want to join. He just hit me yesterday, 60 days sober. And like, this is the shit I get. He's like, I didn't know, like, since I met you in like grade 12, I've never not used drugs and alcohol and worked out every day. Like you'd see his picture of it. I'm like, so this is like, I always believe like I do this because I always leave service led. I love this, is what I like to do. I like helping. It fires me up. So because anyway, he hits me up, and I was like, hey man, like, he's like, yeah, my goal is just to do like the 90 days, but I feel so good. Like why would I go back? I'm like, that's the fucking point. That's the point of
Mhm.
committing. The goal is to not do something, you know, for 75 hard or like 90 days and then be like, you know what, I think I'm just going to go back to everything that made me miserable. It's to wake you up to realize that this is how good you could feel, so why would you ever go back to that lifestyle?
Yeah, and it's interesting you said 75 hard there because I was thinking of that in my brain, like actually about because it's not just about working out and following a diet, it's about reading, it's about being outside, it's about doing all these things and making, and yeah, it's hard because it's like this consistent thing, like work out outside every day. Like I did it and it was like I was out in the pouring rain at like midnight one time doing a workout because I like had to get it done, right? And it's like and then when you're finished, then it's like, okay, we're gonna go back to like what was like normal or whatever. And I think routine, like
Yeah,
I strive with routine, and sometimes we don't even realize it, but when your life is sucking, you're in a routine. It's like you're doing the same
yeah,
thing, right?
yes,
You're
exactly.
staying up late watching TV, you're sleeping in
I
and
can't be
run.
consistent, bro. I'm not kidding. I'm like, no, you're consistent. You're
Yeah.
consistently fucking up, dude.
When I hired a business coach years ago, that's why I stopped drinking. Because I got drunk the first day I was supposed to meet my coach, and I missed the appointment,
I did too.
and then I got loaded, and then I never drank again. But we were talking about systems, and they're like, most businesses think that they're like, oh yeah, well, we need systems. I'm like, no, you got systems. They're just broken. Like whatever you're doing is your system, and it's consistent, and it's giving you the results that you have. So if your finances suck, you're consistent in what you're doing, right? You're spending more than you make, and you're buying things you shouldn't buy, and you're not investing in yourself. And if you're health and fitness, it's the same idea, right? Like, are you going to the gym? Are you putting in that work? Like, it's always inspirational to see people that really transform their lives in any area because they get really focused. And then it's like, yeah, my whole life changed when I did this. It's like, no shit. No kidding, because you did something, because you eliminated something else, right? Like, and I think that's important. And you touched on that. I want you to expand on. I have my own ideas, but you said it first. So what do you mean when you help people reduce what they're doing?
So this is something I love. I heard this saying. It was cool. Fuck, cool. Yeah. Can't remember. I think I heard it from this guy I follow, and it was like, and this is something that I needed because I would do anything and this is anyone listening. Most people will do anything they can, but what actually moves the needle because they're afraid to move the needle. Moving the needle requires change. So I heard this, and it was like, I always ask myself, am I adding more to my plate or am I getting myself closer to my goal? And most
Hmm.
of the time, for me, so many years of my life, it was just adding on. But everything I did was almost to distract me because, or going this way, help people remove the stuff is people are actually afraid of what could go right. Like, what if this actually, like, what if my life actually changes? No, everyone talks about the fear of failure, but let's talk about if, like, holy shit, I'm doing it. I'm removing the things that aren't getting me close to my goal. Like, oh man, like I almost like I just kind of put this out in the universe, but it was like I'm kind of afraid to what if this goes right? Then I have to like be the motherfucker I'm talking about. Like that's kind of scary for a lot of people because I've been used to playing small for so many years, like kind of from the outer experience, exterior, whatever, but inside the person that I know I could be if I remove the things that I'm just putting on my plate, just so I almost like we subconsciously do it just so we don't hit those markers that we really know deep down we want to. But we'll put for a social media example, looking for any way to build like people will be like, I want to build this like my personal brand. How'd you do it? Okay, I'm like, I'm going to tell you, it's actually really easy if you're willing to fucking be fearless, be misunderstood. You're not no one, you know, turn your camera around, be your authentic self. And I know that's scary for a lot. It's the number one thing for a lot of people. They're like, okay, well, I'm going to do a Canva graphic, and I'm like, you're going to do everything except the things that move the needle. Okay, same thing in the gym industry. All right, hey man, this is how you build a good gym. It's environment, it's training, that your how you train people. Do you have the knowledge and vibes? Okay, which is your community vibes training. You're like, well, I'm going to do. People will find every other reason. Well, I'm going to get some hoodies and t-shirts because I want to sell clothes at the gym, or I'm going to order these custom boxing gloves. Focus on the things that move the needle, and you will be successful. It's really that simple in any
Okay.
area.
And in your opinion, what are three things that move the needle for most people? Like what do you see the most that people need to remove from their life?
This is a great question. Get out of your own fucking way. You don't know better, because if you knew better, you wouldn't. The needle would be moving.
So
Okay.
get some help. Okay. Yeah.
Yes. Get some help. Audit your circle. That way, if I
Um,
could tell myself one thing, the younger me, and it's crazy because my ex's dad, Don, he thank God I had this guy because I didn't have much of a father figure. He was spitting all these knowledge bombs at me because he was a
mhm.
very successful entrepreneur, but I didn't want to listen. Okay. So I guess the first one would be get out of your own way, shut the fuck up and listen. Okay. Remove your ego. I know you think you know it all, but if you did, no one, and that's the other thing, no one knows everything. So the way you can tell, like, let's just use entrepreneurs they always want to learn. I want to know if a 16-year-old can show me the most efficient way to do something, or like, I'm going to listen. Like, I don't care. It's so shut up and listen, audit your fucking circle. Okay. Number three, have a plan and follow the plan.
Yeah, and follow
Not
it.
your
Right. That's it. People make these plans, like you said, Sunday night, you
uh,
get all this like motivation, and then Monday
yeah.
wakes up and it's like discipline time, and you're like, oh man, and like even as I'm saying that, I'm like, man, I slept in. I was supposed to go to the gym this morning. I was like, I gotta meet Dave at 8, blah, blah, blah. I should have got up at 5 and just went. And I'll go this afternoon. I know I will, but I wanted to do 2 a days, right? And
You had a good point right there, though. Really good point. Maybe number three, follow the plan. In that is like, this is the other thing, like the one thing I see everyone do. Oh, I missed today. I'm just gonna fucking quit. I'm like, bro, nobody wins 100% of the time. I wake
yeah,
up, I get some days I feel like, some days 5 out of 7 days a week, I don't want to post on the internet. I don't want to put my face out there. I feel like shit. I feel kind of depressed no matter what I'm doing. But I give the 60% I have is 100% on the days I don't have 100%. And if you can keep winning the day, you win the weeks, you start winning years, you start winning life. But just because you miss something doesn't mean it's all over. Doesn't mean
no,
you got to restart, because that's one of the most common things. It's like, oh fuck, I actually slept in 15 minutes today too. I don't know what happened. Ashley's like, alarm went off, and I was like, but I'm like, all right, you know what I mean? It's like it's having that mentality that there isn't perfection, doesn't exist, and so many people, they beat themselves up, right? They're like, oh fuck, I didn't go to the gym this morning. Well, I'm just not going to go at all today. Fuck it. I mean, I'll just do it again tomorrow. And like you nailed it. That becomes the habit.
hmm Yeah, no, it's
Sorry to
true.
interrupt.
And it just continually, and then it builds, right? It's like kind of like, well, I ate, I wrecked my diet today, or my eating plan, so it's already wrecked. I'm just gonna gorge more. And I would do that all the time without even realizing it. I've started fasting, like intermittent fasting, like going longer so that I can just like challenge myself a bit and then eat during, that 6 hour window kind of thing. Um, just
Have you
because
done a
it
long one?
What's that?
Have you done a long fast?
Oh yeah, four days with just water.
Ooh, shit.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just did a 36 one. I was freaking dying. I haven't done
That
4 days
was
though.
mental, but you know what? Like the first time I did it, I did 3 days, and I planned it so that I was at home in case I didn't feel good. And then mentally, like I sat on the couch and I watched TV so that I didn't do anything. And I just was in my head the whole time. And then the next time I like did it while I was working so that I was busy and I had a full schedule, and I was just like, and it was way easier. The fourth day got a little bit rough, and I kind of said, I'm gonna do it like, for a week or whatever, but I couldn't. I just was like I caved. I think it really
Yeah, four
teaches
days.
you. What's that?
4 days is fucking bad. I only did 36. Now, same thing. I was like, of course, I went to the farmer's market, like had all these meals delivered. I'm like, oh my God, why did I start it now? But
Yeah.
I want to do another one.
Yeah, well, it's like it's a spiritual thing too, I think. Like you really kind of find out who you are. It's different too. I mean, we used to cut weight for fighting, so you'd go 24 hours, no
Yeah.
water or whatever, no eating. Like at least when you're drinking water, I'm like, well, this isn't so bad. I can drink water, 24 to 48 is like pretty easy because your body starts to really burn that, your fat still cleaning, it cleans the fat out of your blood and stuff like that. So you get this like spike of energy. I'm like, hey, this is pretty good. And then day three, you start to feel crummy because now it's like locking into your fat, taking away those toxins, and it starts to make it like bad again, right? And so your body's processing everything. Um, I know you built a huge social media following and you help people do that as well. That's another thing you do. What would be the top tip you could give to somebody that's wanting to grow their social media, their personal brand today if they heard this? What's something they could start today that would help them?
Don't be afraid to be yourself. It's the number one thing I tell everybody. Everybody's trying so hard to be like, I mean, not do I don't like everybody. It's just impossible. So the truer you can speak to yourself, and this is something I wish I could have told myself when I was like 20, that's your gift, is being yourself. And if it's the easiest way to grow, because we live in a world full of so much fakeness. Let's just use the word, like, like masks.
Be
Everyone's
yourself.
afraid to say
Like
the
that.
wrong thing. I don't want to get canceled or whatever the fuck it is. Just be yourself. And if you can be fearless enough to be yourself, you can be anything you want, because the world needs more of it. It's rare. And everything you want is on the other side of that fear. And if you're showing up for the right reasons, every time I still have it, and I've been doing, I have doubts. I always ask myself, why do I do it? Why am I
Mm.
doing this? And every time I remember my why, fear is never an issue.
What is your why?
Help other people.
Nice. Dave, where can people find you?
It's at Dave Puhky on Instagram. That's pretty much, I have the other ones, but I use Instagram mostly. It's just started YouTube and Not for Hire, the clothing brand and the retreat. It's built for people that we want to run our own race. We don't, we want to forge our own way this world. We want to be bold, and we want a life that can't be taken from us. Financial
I know you got to
clarity.
run, and I don't want to keep you make you late, but what you did mention a retreat. What are you doing coming up so people can look into it?
So contrary to what the social media and how much time we spend on our cell phone, another thing that comes with that is, as an entrepreneur, so much disconnect, right? Because the one thing about the phone, especially here in LA, it's almost like a requirement to drive on your phone here. But if you look around at people in their cars, but the retreat is for people to, it's not, I don't want to call it a hard reset, but to get creative again, right? Personal development, dial in the routine and get creative by being off our phones. I find a big thing lacking is community, like-minded people talking about like-minded things and preparing for the next quarters. The first one's going to be in February. So if you're an entrepreneur or you're just into personal development and you're kind of feeling stuck, like, I was, one thing I know is I hit walls in entrepreneurship, just kind of like mundane, even though we try and master the mundane, it's really important to take a step back. CJ, my old jiu-jitsu coach, always taught me this thing. He's like, you're a hammer, bro. You always want to just like ram your way through things. Take your foot off the gas to change the lane. And that analogy has stuck through with this, everything I've done in my life. Sometimes we need to take a step back if we feel like we're stuck, to see which direction we need to go. So create that clarity.
Nice, man. Well, hey, I appreciate you coming on the show.
We're going to catch up again because we got so much to catch up on.
I agree. I'd love to have you back on and even just to chat. So thanks again for coming on and I wish you well in the rest of this year.
Thanks for having me, man. You too. And yeah, we'll definitely chat more soon. I'm excited to hear
Of course.
everything you got going on. And appreciate you having me. And
My
here we
pleasure.
are, 10 years later. Let's go. Okay, bro.
If you're interested in a new approach for your investing and you want to learn how to get involved in real assets like real estate, silver, gold, land, hit us up and we can help you out.